Justin Gaethje is he's in a bit of trouble now for this next upcoming fight against Charles Oliveira. Now, I want to say this because going into the Poirier versus Oliveira fight, I was leaning towards Dustin 60% and then Oliveira 40%. I wasn't too confident in my pick for Dustin. It was, I guess you could say, a little bit more than a coin toss in my opinion. I knew going in that Charles' submission threat was massive, and I knew if it ever got into grappling exchanges, there's just no way that Dustin was going to be able to really be like handle it. Dustin is not a bad grappler. He's just not on Charles Oliveira's level. Now, Gaethje is in some trouble here. Gaethje is one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. I think he's a lot of people's favorite fighters. Undoubtedly, even if you don't like his personality for whatever reason, you're tuning in to watch him fight. Now, by the way, my seat is really low. All right, there we go. How was that for the? Okay, there we go. I feel a little bit better now. Seat was pretty low there. I do want to say this one thing about Charles though. Even though I think that Charles is excellent, he's incredibly well-rounded. I think the fight against Khabib would be an interesting style matchup, Charles and Khabib. I think that Charles is going to be tough to beat. I think that like I said, super well-rounded. His stand-up has obviously came a long way. He's always been good at grappling. And he's not a quitter like Justin says. He wasn't. I mean, he proved that after the Chandler fight, in my opinion. That being said, let me say this one thing about him. And I know some people, there's going to be a lot of recency bias, there's going to be a lot of thoughts going into this. I do want to say this, and I'm not trying to disrespect Charles. I'm not. I promise you I'm not. I don't know. I don't believe. I'm leaning towards this. I don't think that Charles is going to be a long reigning UFC lightweight champion. Now, a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy. They're like, oh my God, did you see I beat Chandler? Did you see I beat Poirier? You're crazy. He's going to beat Gaethje. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Here's the thing. Critical part. He's been damaged pretty badly in the first Chandler fight and the Poirier fight. He did get damaged. He gets hit, definitely, because of the way his style is. And not only that, he gets dropped. One of the differences between someone like Charles, for example, and Holloway that you'll notice is that Holloway takes a lot of damage, but he does not get dropped, right? He does not. I know people are going to say, oh, that one time against Dustin Poirier, the fence saved him. He has not technically, his ass has never hit the ground, okay, in terms of Holloway, technically. So when you look at someone like Holloway, he takes the shots, he just keeps going forward, okay? There's other fighters you could think of as well who utilize their chins and their chins are so good that they keep going forward. Now, the one thing you can say about Charles is the dude gets hit and just keeps on coming, okay? He recovers quick. He manages to slip away from, fight-ending shots when he is hurt. He's really good at it. However, the amount of damage that he takes, and look, he got dropped in the Chandler fight. And against Poirier, he got dropped at least... Did he get dropped here? Was this one of the parts? Well, that was kind of a slip. But then right about here, this was a beautiful punch. Dropped. And I know he got dropped, I think, one more point in the fight, I believe. So it was about two to three times he got dropped. So what is my point, like, in saying all this? Because he gets hit so much, the thing it's hard for me to, because he gets hit and dropped so easily, it's tougher for me to see him being a long reigning champion. The way I look at it is that Gaethje's probably going to drop him a couple times. Now, again, the tricky part for Gaethje, like why I'm saying he's in trouble, is again the submission threat. Gaethje, I think his takedown defense is obviously good enough. I don't think Charles is going to take Gaethje down with a standard double leg or anything. I think Charles is going to have to do something similar to Dustin, where like he gets dropped and Gaethje goes in his guard and gets caught in the grappling, or he just takes Gaethje's back while they're clinching and stuff, or spins around him, something like that. He's not taking Gaethje down with a standard double leg. I just don't see that, or a single leg or anything like that. Even with trips, I doubt he's going to do that. But because the submission threat is so big, I think Charles needs to get Gaethje on the ground once or twice, and that could easily be the end of the fight, to be quite honest. Even on the feet, if you look at the way he was beating Dustin, he was doing a high pace, a lot of kicks, knees to the body, a lot of clinch work. Now, he was having trouble kind of in the I guess you could say the mid range, not the long range or the close range. It was kind of like the mid range, where they were pretty close to each other. And he was getting dropped. And if you actually notice towards the end of the first round, I believe it was after this one. After this point, towards the last minute, Charles was backing up a little bit because he was hurt. He was still punching back, but you could see if you compare it to like the certain parts of the beginning of the fight where he was kind of like just rushing forward, clinching with Dustin, confident, even though he was getting hit. You could see once he's hurt, he wasn't as confident. So my thing is that I have a feeling that Gaethje's obviously going to drop him. And I'm not giving Charles like a 90% chance to win the fight, by the way. I'm going to lean towards him probably 60-ish percent. And he'll have to also deal with the kicks that Gaethje's going to be throwing. Now, my main point I'm trying to say is that I don't think, like I said, he's going to be a champion for a long time. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. I got scared for a second. I don't see him being a champ for a long time because of the amount he gets hit. Again, Max Holloway gets hit, but he stays standing, just keeps going forward. He has a titanium chin. The way Oliveira's doing, where he's rushing into guys, and these past two fights he's gotten dropped against power punchers, the way I look at it, because of that kind of hole, I don't know if you want to call it a hole or what you want to call it, but that kind of gap in his skill set, or kind of, he can get exposed like that. He can get dropped and finished, definitely by that. And the amount of damage he takes like that, that's going to be shortening his career for sure too. Ultimately, right now, preliminary thoughts are I'm picking Charles to win because I think, again, Justin is similar in the sense. The one thing that Justin does more effectively than Gaethje is obviously Justin's leg kicks. He does a little bit more effective. Now, I just think that I can see Charles doing the same thing, pushing the pace, making a close, dirty fight. He's probably going to get dropped again a couple times. But ultimately, I think the risk is that Justin could easily get caught in a submission again, which is why I might be leaning towards him. And I'm not going to let the recency bias cloud my judgment and say that Charles has a 90% chance to win. I'm not going to do that. And also, I'm not going to let recency bias cloud what I've seen in these last two fights with Charles getting dropped. From what I have seen, this might be a bit of a hot take, but I can potentially see someone like Chandler. I could give Chandler a 10-20% chance to beat Charles in a rematch. People are going to think that's crazy because he lost to Charles pretty handily, and he lost to Gaethje right now. All it takes is Chandler to land the right punch in the first round, and he could beat Oliveira. If Poirier was to rematch Oliveira, I would not favor Poirier to win. No way. I would not favor him to win. However, do I think that he can win in a rematch? Yep. By doing the same thing he did in the first fight, dropping him in the first round, avoiding the grappling exchanges, and he could beat him. Because on the feet, even though Charles was doing a good job, Dustin was starting to slow down because of the body strikes, but the power difference was so big that I could see a way for Dustin to beat him in the second fight. Absolutely. If they did a rematch. Again, I wouldn't favor Dustin to win, but I can see a path to victory for Dustin. Now, I do want to say, I do think that in terms of the glove hold, I don't know if this highlight is going to show it. Where is it? Got him here, he got him down. He took him down, the Dustin came in. So it's not going to show it. Oh, right. So he's not going to show it properly, but here's what I'll say. I do think that Oliveira did put his fingers into the glove for a little bit, but I did see some angles where it looked like he changed it to like the wrist for a bit. Ultimately, though, the ref should have caught the glove or the fingers in the glove immediately and told him to take his hands off right away. And I will say that had he done that, had that finger in the glove not got there, you can kind of say that you can make the argument that Dustin wouldn't have rolled over because he wouldn't have felt like his hand was trapped. And I know a lot of people were saying like, oh, well, that doesn't matter. He would have beat him on the ground anyways, or this and that. And people are arguing that he didn't grab or hook his finger in for that long. When it comes to championship level fights, everybody knows this. Dude, when it comes to a championship level fight, every small detail matters. Every position, every punch landed, every break you get, any fouls that are in play, any glove grabbing like this, any cage grabbing, any... Look... That particular moment led to Oliver being on top and Dustin smartly, I don't know what the commentators were talking about, grabbing hold of Oliver's life because he did not want to let Oliver go off. So again, in my opinion, Dustin didn't complain about it, and ultimately Charles still did win and did a good job. However, I do feel like Charles did grab for a little bit, hook his fingers into the glove, and then it does look like he switched to a hand grab after that. But still, in these level fights, even a few seconds of that can make all the difference. And I actually think it should be penalized, but in championship level fights, dude, the refs need to be even more careful, because these guys are fighting at such a high level that these little things can completely turn the fate of a fight. Absolutely. And I will debate anybody on that any day when it comes to this, something like that. That's pretty much my thoughts on the fight. Gaethje is potentially in trouble. I'm giving Oliveira a 60% chance to win. However, I don't see Oliveira being a long-range champion, because he gets hit and he gets dropped quite a bit and he gets hurt. These last two fights, he's shown he can get through it, but it's something that somebody else can potentially expose, which Gaethje might be the guy. He absolutely could be the guy to expose it. That's my thoughts on the video, or did I say thoughts on the video? Those are my thoughts on the fight and the potential future fights with Oliveira. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more content similar to this. I am out. Peace.